Today I'm going to show you guys how to power mod and voltage lock your Pascal and Turing GPUs. Hey guys, welcome to Frame Chasers. I got a lot of requests for this video. Again, I didn't know that so many people didn't know how to power mod their cards, but it's gonna be very important for those wanting to see what their cards can do before the 3000 release. So that's what this video is gonna be for. So this video is gonna go up Friday the 11th, and that would mean 17th. That means you got 1 week to power mod and test your card out doing what I'm going to show you here in this video. Now, power modding is going to be different for every card, every chip. Silicon lottery applies, depending on how far you can get. Actually, the card that I'm going to be using as an example today is a 1080 Ti that I just bought yesterday. I got it for 300 bucks, so hell yeah. Can you imagine that they were like $700 not even like a month ago, and now they're like 300? It's crazy. Still a good card. My buddy wanted me to do a really cheap build for him under $1,000. So the 1080 Ti was a no-brainer for him. He wants to do more esports stuff. On an unrelated note, I just picked up this thing here. It's like a spindle disc of some sort. I got it for like 80 bucks off Amazon. I'm gonna use it to shoot some B-roll just to like increase the production quality a little bit around here. Check this out. Oh yeah. I mean, I definitely have to get a better camera and a better background, but it's pretty sweet, I would say. I'm kind of digging this whole B-roll thing. Although I have no idea when and how to put B-roll, so I'm just gonna have to play with it. But well, at least I got something for it now. Anyway, back to this 1080 Ti. So what we're gonna be doing here, I'm gonna do my benchmark suite, unpower modded, and then have the numbers beside it with the power modded numbers. Then I'm gonna post where this card slots in with all the rest of my benchmarks for GPUs, just so you can see where it kind of slits in there. Just because I have it, I'm gonna add it to the database that we have going here. So actually, this video is kind of a 2-in-1, a step-by-step and a 1080 Ti results video. Yeah, okay, let's get right into it. Step 1 for power modding. I'm going to link. I'm not really sure how to do this. I'm gonna point up here, and I'm gonna make a video point to the video that you have to watch. That video is one that I did a couple of weeks ago. And it is the exact same procedure for Turing and Pascal. If you are using Pascal, you don't have to use the resistor. You can just jump it with a wire instead, and that removes the power limit. If you are using Turing, you have to use that resistor that's in that video. And the part number for that resistor is linked in the description of that video, so you have to use that one. So step 1, I'm going to assume that you watched that video. And the process, the step-by-step that I show in that video is the exact same for all Turing cards and Pascal cards. So make sure you watch that one first, and then we're going to go to step 2 here. Okay, step 2. So I'm going to assume that your card is now shunted. The power limit has been removed. The next step that you want to have to play around with is Afterburner voltage locking. And this part takes a long time to play with it a little bit to actually find the sweet spot. And I'm going to show you on this card how this card actually overclocks like shit, but I'm going to show you anyway how to do it. I'm actually going to bring up my screen capture here. There we go. All right. So let me bring this up. What I usually like to do, and this is the method that I go about it. So I like to have Heaven benchmark running just in the top left corner here, just because it's an easy way to have a 3D load on your screen without taking up your entire screen here. See how convenient that is? We're gonna open up Afterburner here. Okay, revert this back to stock. Okay, So you can see right away how it's at 1043 millivolts, boosting to 1936. Now, if we move the core percentage slider all the way up, it's just going to tell the GPU to use all it has available. Now, this is going to be pretty high just because it's already shunt modded, so the card is thinking, oh, I haven't drawn any power yet. But the next part we want to go to is when you're here, press Control F. And this screen here is where all the magic happens. This is where all the magic happens. Now, you can undervolt and overvolt from here. So this is how you do it. Now, if you just use this middle slider here, this does not control voltage. If you just move the slider over to the right, the card is going to choose whatever voltage it feels is appropriate for that clock speed. So we don't want to do this. This is for quick and dirty overclocking. This does not control your voltage at all. So the maximum you can go on Turing and Pascal cards is 1093 millivolts. You can go above this with XOC BIOSes, but we're not going to use those, as I will explain later. We're just going to pretend that 1093 is the maximum right now. But 1075 I find to be the sweet spot for power scaling. But if you're not happy with that, 1093, and then you just crank that shit all the way as high as you can go. Let me show you how this works here. So if you see down here, these dots correlate to voltage and frequency spots on the curve, right? So we want to lock the voltage to the maximum, which is 1093. Let me just go back to default here. 1093 millivolts, which is right here. And let's say we want to go plus, I don't know, 50 megahertz, which should be about 2012. Click the check mark. 2012, 1093. Now, it's going to lock the frequency, and it's going to lock the voltage here. It might drop the frequency a little bit depending on the temperature of the card, but because we're power modded, it will never drop the voltage, and it will never drop the core frequency based on power anyway. And this is how you want to test your cards. You want to test them, like A/B test them, and lock the core on them, right? Now, on my 2080 Ti, like the beast that I bench with all the time, what I have mine set at is 1093 millivolts, all the way up to 2205 megahertz. And then it kind of settles at 2190 because after it gets hot for a little bit. But this is what I found with the maximum my card can go. The interesting thing is, if I use 1075, I can still get to 2145 with about 50 watts less power draw. That's kind of what I was talking about with the sweet spot a little bit. The extra 50 megahertz isn't worth 50 watts, but I just do it for shits and giggles, right? But like, that's why I'm saying if you go in here and you find your sweet spot of what your chip likes, that's kind of the best way that you can find where to lock your voltage at what frequency after the shunt mod. Now, this also works both ways. You can actually undervolt the card this way. So we move these ones down because the highest value is the one that it's going to go to, right? So let's say we want to undervolt it to 1 volt. Actually, look at this here quickly. Look how much power draw the graphics card is pulling here. Where are we here? A little bit higher. Where the hell is it here? There we go. Okay, look at this. GPU power is at 90... Where are we here? 70, 77. Okay, so we're going to undervolt this to 1 volt. Move all these down, move all these. It doesn't matter where they are as long as they're just lower than the 1 volt. There. Okay. So we're going to move this up to 1900. That's fine. 1905. Now when I hit this check mark, it's going to lock the voltage at 1 volt. See how it just did that? It's now locked at 1 volt and right underneath 1900 megahertz where the curve is at. It'll never go faster than this. It'll never volt higher than this because this is the highest point on that curve. Look how much cooler the GPU is running and look how much less power it's drawing as well. Like that's almost like a 5-6 degree drop in temperatures. And we lost like what, 50 megahertz, right? That's kind of the beauty of this entire thing. You can, like, if you're on a micro ATX or if you have like like a 2070 mini or something like that, something with a really small cooler on it, you can get these things so damn efficient and they can run really cool. That's like, yeah, this is you can go all the way up and you can go all the way down. You can literally make this thing draw like 75 watts if you wanted to by just like going all the way down to like 800 millivolts. But yeah, that's the magic of the voltage locking with Control F. So if you're like me and you're on a 2080 Ti, not knowing if you should upgrade to the 3080 or not, you got a water block or you got like a Strix like triple fan, triple slot cooler or some shit, just go to 1093, crank it up as high as you can, and just run some benchmarks and just see where it lands. That's pretty much all I did. I just put liquid metal on mine with a water block, cranked it as high as I can at 1093. There is, like, remember how I was saying that above 1075, the power draw starts getting ridiculous. There is a Kingpin BIOS that you can flash on these. Now, the Kingpin BIOS can't be flashed on the base level 2080 Ti's, the non-A chips, but you can flash them on the A chips on any of them. And it lets you bump the voltage up to 1.15. And I tried it on my wife's to like get hers up a little bit more. And it was drawing like 450 watts in the Call of Duty menu. Like I'm not even shitting you. Like that like don't use that BIOS for daily use. Like it is crazy. Like I thought 1093 millivolts was like crazy for power draw. If you go to 1.15 and then the Kingpin BIOS removes the power limits automatically, holy crap. Like just don't do it. Don't do it. Like it'll draw like at least 600 like that's literally for liquid nitrogen. Like just don't do it. Like Turing pulls way too much power past 1075, like way too much. That's like why I want to see where the Samsung 8 nanometer node, how it does the curve, right? Because the latest leak says that it goes to 1.1 volt, 2100 megahertz. Maybe it's 1093 again, but that's about the same as what Turing does for the most part. Like if you're at 1093, I guarantee you'll hit 2100 megahertz. But yeah, even just going down to like 1075 millivolts saves you a ton of power, I don't foresee Ampere, like I don't foresee it going, like if they're drawing 320 watts at 1.1 volt, that's it. Like if you go to like 1.15 millivolts or whatever, you're back up to 450 watts again. So like yeah, well, time will tell how it scales with voltage, but it's looking very similar to Turing. I don't think we're kind of hitting like a 2 gigahertz GPU wall here, I believe. Like even if you do a 5700 XT on water or like a Radeon 7, you go to like 2 gigahertz, 2.1, the power draw it just 1700 megahertz, 1800, 1900, 2000, and then you hit like the 1.1 or 1.2 volts, and it's like, it like goes backwards like this. Like, it's crazy. It just can't scale anymore with voltage, but try 1075 with the Pascal or with a Turing card that you got. See if you can find a happy medium. If you're not happy, do 1093. Don't use the XOC BIOSes. The power draw is too insane. It's insane. It's not worth the 20 megahertz to draw an extra 100 watts. I mean, like, it's too much. So that's the first part of the video. Just before we close this video off, I'm gonna post up the 1080 Ti before and after the power mod. Here. Oh, I didn't even finish it. Whatever. Anywhere from 5 to 10% performance increase. After the power mod. The 1080 Ti did not perform very well, at all when it comes to the power mod. But it's very similar to... Let me just close this off here. I'm gonna have all of these numbers posted with, the next video for the GPU benchmark comparison. I'm gonna add all these power modded numbers, but I totally forgot to finish these, but whatever. Anywhere from 5 to 10% performance boost, which isn't very much. Might not even be worth it, to be honest. But I noticed that the less not CUDA cores, we can't use CUDA core, we can't use that term anymore. The less SMs the card has, the less a power mod is going to do for it. And let me explain why. I noticed that when I power modded a 2080 and even this 1080 Ti, I only got about 10%. If you go back and check my 2080 Super numbers, I only got about an extra 10% after a power mod. And the reason is, you can always add frequency, but you can't add cores and SMs. It is what it is, right? So a 2080 Ti has 68 SMs, and a 2080 has how many? Yeah, the 2080 Super has 48 SMs. So from 48 to 68, that's 20 more SMs. That's why the 2080 Ti is so much faster, especially when you power mod it. So, hey, that's my kitty. Hey, kitty. How are you doing, kitty? Yeah. Back to what I was saying. When you power mod a card that has very low SMs, and you go to 2.1 gigahertz or whatever, you're not scaling that many more cores, and the power draw is already within its envelope, so it doesn't need more budget room, like more power room, right? If you power mod a 2080 Ti, you have 20 more SMs than a 2080 Super trying to get to 2.1 gigahertz. That's why it needs so much more power to get there, right? But that's why it scales so much further. That's why you can get 30% more than 30% power modding it. Now, that's the same reason why I think a 3080 isn't going to go very far in terms of power modding. Same reason why the 1080 Ti and 2080 don't. But the 3090 should scale far with the power mod, because that has another 68 to 80, 12. It has another 12 SMs on top of that, and only a 350 watt power budget. So, yeah, that's 18% more SMs, but only 10% more power. So the 3090 is going to be choked off to shit. And plus all those extra GDDR6 modules draining some more of that power as well. Power modding a 3090 is going to be where it's at. That's going to be the benchmark king. Just remove the power limits off that thing. Let it scream at 2.2 gigahertz. That's going to be a monster. 3080, not so much. It's going to be the same as that power modded 2080 Ti. Okay, guys, I hope that was in depth enough. This video was kind of all over the place, but just focus on that voltage locking part. That's the magic of where you want to go. So when you're playing a game, the voltage doesn't drop. It just keeps it there. But you have to use the shunt mod for that to work, or else it'll just hit the power limit and just downclock itself. Shunt mod first, voltage lock second. Yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hit that subscribe button if you like the content, and do all that YouTube SEO stuff for me. Oh, my kitty wants to walk. And I will see you guys in the next one. Talk to you later.